Fuck.
What a way to start the podcast, Steve. Dropping
Oops.
the F bomb. Welcome to the Valve Bouts. And all we have to say is definitely after that, we're not worthy, okay? We are not worthy of that Oscar Piastri brilliance.
Oscar Piastri.
Da, 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 da. Wow.
How good? How good? How fucking good? I've already sworn anyway, so I don't need to stop swearing. I can just keep swearing. How fucking good is Oscar Piastri, Damo? That kid is the best.
He has certainly connected all of the wires in his head and just gone, all right, it's now time to start crushing people because it really was just a dominant weekend from him. He really,
Oh, mate.
previous races and qualies, he's made some mistakes and he just went, right, this
Yep.
one I'm nailing. And he did.
Absolutely spot on. And that free practice, like FP1, I was like, oh, he's a little off the pace. But then I was like, it's only FP1. And then FP2, top of the timesheets. And then FP3, he had like 6 tenths. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Wow. Wow.
I know Lando didn't get his lap together, but I was like, oof, that's
Yeah.
a lot. And then we can roll around, and here we are, pole position to young Oscar. And where was Lando?
Oh.
Nowhere.
Yeah, all right. Well, I guess that's a good start that we can kick off what we're now calling the debrief. So we are we are going to be utilizing the debrief to kind of go over all the post race analysis when we do a review. And
Yes.
I guess I'd like to start with that. Like Lando, I think he's lost the mental game. He
Well, he did that
was
weekend.
he was a broken driver at the end of quali. His interviews, and it's just like I don't know like how he was feeling, but like I was like on suicide watch a bit with him because I just thought, oh my goodness,
Jesus, Damo.
yeah,
That's a bit rough. No, not so. I mean, look, he just. Sorry for anybody who's looking. Seek help if you need.
true, true,
Lando is very much inside his own head, and I think that battle is now becoming a time where it's going to prove a problem for him. And especially, I've got a feeling about this weekend too. I
Ooh.
We'll get to that later. Um,
Yes, we will.
but yeah, literally, I think he's almost at breaking point, and we've only had 4 races.
Yeah, so do you reckon that was Max that kind of started it by saying if I was in the McLaren, I'd be dominating. Do you think like part of that kind of back and forth was like the start of it, and then Oscar just dominating again, it was the trigger for him or something? I don't know. He just yeah, it was always hard to watch, and then he did get his head right at the end when he got third place, and he was really like a professional racing driver should be, even though he got third. But he was definitely in a whole world of pain after quali.
Yeah, he certainly was. You know what? It takes me back. This is the funniest shit. So at the start of the year, when they announced that Piastri had a contract extension, I saw a video from this idiot that was like, I don't understand why Oscar's getting a contract extension. He's not very good. He's nowhere near Lando's caliber. And I replied with a video post later on where Oscar going around the outside of Hamilton is why he got
Yeah, yeah,
a, an extension on his contract. Um, but let's just put this into context. The reason Lando is feeling threatened right now, and it is that he's feeling threatened,
yeah,
uh, is if you take away the fact that Oscar was unfortunate on his rejoin in Australia,
yep,
if that didn't happen, he's miles
yeah,
ahead in this championship.
yeah,
Like, he's towed him up in China.
yep,
He probably should have won in Japan. He just slightly messed up the quali, and
yep,
not by a lot, like just the
yep,
tiniest of margins. And then he towed him up at Bahrain.
yeah,
And if we go to Jeddah and he towels him up again, oh,
yeah.
that little British boy is going to have the biggest bottom lip you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah.
Because, wow, that came out over the weekend.
And it was almost like the last time you kind of saw that contrast was when Lando was doing that to Danny Rick, right? Danny Rick was just lost. He didn't know how or why the speed, he couldn't get the speed or get the car going. And that was what I was feeling like, when I was watching him. He just looked totally lost. But you're right.
Yep.
Jeddah was a strong track for Piastri last year, and with a dominant car, yeah, if he can pull together another strong weekend, he'll be pole. He'll be he'll be race winner for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the car's there, right? Oscar said it himself. He's not. You can't blame the car. The car's right. I've just got to execute.
Yeah.
And if I execute, then it makes me look great. And that's exactly it. And you can't. In Formula One, I don't care what anyone says, you can't win if you don't have the car. It has to be both.
It has to be
a good driver and the car, and at the right time, that comes together. So, right now, Oscar is far more comfortable in that car than Lando is.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's something to do with his driving style for sure. And it is a Danny Rick moment, and it's kind of feels like karma a little bit.
Well, I guess that's the crucial part, isn't it? Because along with the media, who we'll get onto that later, they feel lost, and it does feel like. I had the thought, I wonder if he's going to look back at 2024 and think that could have been my year, and that might be his only opportunity. I mean, he will have other opportunities, but I think if the car is with him and Oscar stays in the championship, he's going to be up there. By the time he sort of gets going, you're going to have people like Antonelli and that who are going to be hitting their strides. You've got Russell going well. Like, it's not a great place to be right now with everyone else coming on strong.
And that's exactly it. Like, the field is actually arguably one of the strongest we've had for a while, even with the rookies in it.
Yep.
I'm quite shocked at just how strong this field is and how close it is across the board, especially that midfield is absolutely crazy. We've got a couple down the back that are struggling, notably Aston and Stake, but one's got Adrian Newey and the other has a big powerhouse company coming in behind it next year. So you can't imagine they're going to stay down there for too much longer.
No.
And they're not missing by much. They're just missing the small bits. So, it's an interesting one. Lando's going to have to... I don't know. I mean, it was interesting. Peter Windsor said that he doesn't believe in all the mental shit in his latest video. And he's like, that's just horse shit and da da da. And I'm like, no, actually, mental is probably 80% of it. The driving and getting all that right, you can work on a little bit. And obviously, you need a bit of natural speed in there. But if you drop by 10% in your mental race, you're done.
Yeah, and I think that is, Peter's got some great insights and connections, etc. But sometimes that generational shift is a bit of a gap, and especially the way kids and generations below even me are coming up and growing up like Oscar and that the mental part is a much greater piece. In terms of athletes, they're all so strong. They're all, doing the same, they build up the necks. All of that is, pretty much on par. And so the mental is the part that gets you that extra 10, 15, 20, even more. Yeah.
And that's what makes Oscar just so good.
A weapon, yeah.
He does, Max can make all the statements that he wants, and Oscar's just like...
Yep. It'll just make up a meme or, do the latest trend on TikTok or something,
Meanwhile, Lando's going, well, jump in the car. Why don't you just try and drive it? It's not that easy. Well, come on, mate.
Yeah, well, speaking of that whole, lifting your mental game and, stepping up, I am not a fan of Russell as a person, but damn, he has absolutely taken the step forward. And that Merc is looking strong, and Russell's looking pretty strong in it.
Yeah, looking good. I would say that Lewis not being in the team and him being able to have the focus has helped a lot. Um, and he looks comfortable as the team lead. And right now he's not under any threat from Antonelli, not just yet.
Yep.
So yeah, I think he's doing a good job. The interesting part will be once Antonelli gets to him. We'll see how that changes.
Yes.
But for right now, I think he's driving exceptionally well, and that drive last weekend was very good. He had a inconsistent brake pedal. He had DRS opening when he was hitting the
Drinks.
like
Yeah.
radio button or
Radio.
drinks button,
Yeah.
and like they had some gremlins in that car at the back end of that race. So to manage that and still bring it home ahead of a very strong McLaren. And I mean, I don't think I've written it down here. We could probably talk all night about Lando's unimpressive overtaking moves, but he did a really good job. So well done, George. I will give you the kudos when you need them.
I know, because I'm very quick to, because I'm not biggest fan of him. I'm very quick to, when he stuffs up, just go, George. But he is doing really well. So, what about, speaking of getting a little bit angry, because this drove me nuts through the weekend with different motorsport things having issues, but the telecast stuff. Now let's start at quali, where they were not policing or the stewards or doing something, and then nobody seemed to know what was going on, both the teams nor the telecast, anything about the quali issues. And then you have Albon not going through when he should have. I mean, that was a massive fail from the FIA.
I've worked it out, Damo. I've worked it out. I know what happened.
Yes. Hulk smash. he's just done the old, I'll threaten you, and therefore they've gone, Q2, there you go.
Q2. Yep.
So that was kind of the first thing where it was just a bit of a shambles. And then the telecast stuff up, making decisions because George's transponder was stuffing up to get rid of all the timing. The camera angles, missing crucial things. I know we're not the only ones to talk about this, but geez, I was getting a little fired up.
I can't tell, mate. Not at all.
Start my Monday morning because I was watching it early, obviously on Monday before work, and then just fire into my working week, going, oh.
And don't our colleagues love it.
Oh yeah.
No, mate. Look, couldn't agree more. The stuff up of Hulk was pretty unacceptable. I know they weren't focusing on that particular part of the track, but mate, you just can't be doing those things. You got to make sure you're watching it.
Yeah.
And I could deal with the George Russell part, although frustrating not being able to see the difference in times if somebody was catching or not. It was a little frustrating. It did show me that I watched that totem pole a little bit too much. But on top of that, the unsatisfactory, the unconditional thing that they broke was not showing Oscar as the main feed winning that fucking race. That is an utter disgrace.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. And on top of that, you focused on a fucking battle that wasn't a battle.
It was not going to happen. There was no way.
And you missed the one that actually happened, which was the Gasly v Verstappen.
Yeah, who actually snagged a beautiful overtake. They were both tussling.
Yep.
And I know there's a lot of talk about British bias and everything else. I can't comprehend that they're getting the main feed from Formula One. So what we need to figure out is, do they have power over what goes to Sky versus what's in the main feed? Because we don't get the other commentary. Was it Channel 4 or whatever it is that is the other one with I mean, it's got Coulthard and Webber and stuff. We don't get that one, but having a look online, it looks like they had the finishing as they were talking about it. Now, I don't know because I can't see it. I'd love to hear if there's anyone overseas that gets the other broadcast if that was the case.
Why can't we get that one? Why can't we have Webber, a fellow Aussie?
When I have some time, I am going to do some research on VPNs and see what options are there. Because it's almost at that stage where I can't bear bloody Sky anymore. Because yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think certainly I can't remember. Not the greatest memory, but I can't remember when they have not shown the race winner in the main feed as they cross the line ever.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like, I remember complaining with an actual battle happening, like with like 4 cars, saying I couldn't see that.
Yeah.
But even in that instant, like, the smaller box is fine for that, right?
Yeah, correct.
Like, that's the small box. The main fact is that Oscar was winning that race.
Yep.
And comfortably. You haven't shown him all night because he was out there comfortable.
Yep.
So this is his time. Give him his time.
Give him his time. Yeah. And I feel like for poor Oscar, like his wins, his first win was overshadowed by a whiny Brit. His second one was really good. And these ones this year have been all good until now. And I'm just like, what sort of, like, are you serious? Are you have you got some issues with Oscar or Australians or anyone that's not British? Like, I'm really lost as to how it can just fall apart so badly.
Just like Lando, the Brits are struggling with the fact that Lando's no good.
Yeah, well, they better get used to it. That's all I'm saying.
So every Brit out there, if we have any Brits who watch this, please jump in the comments and toast us. I don't care. But ultimately, you need to understand that our mother is from there, so we have the right.
We are one generation removed from Brit, so we're with you in some regards. But yeah, you can't be
just
better.
not in this one.
Can't be better than Oscar, and you've just got to show the feed. That's ridiculous.
Exactly right.
Some more stuff ups on the weekend.
No.
Mate,
Where?
strategy. What the hell was going on? Because, like,
I like the different strategies. They were good.
Yeah, I think it made great racing, but jeepers, man, like poor Doohan, he got shafted, was in the points, was looking good, bad timing with the safety car, and, you know, Antonelli, you know, like, yeah, there were quite a few that were caught out by that, and it just, some of the strategies, people going to softs and, like, Russell making it last, it seemed strange, and then others going on to hard tyres, they couldn't get on. It was a bit crazy.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot going on, but it made for good racing. You know, like at one stage we had Antonelli pulling off an awesome move on Max Verstappen. You know, like I'm trying to think of everything that happened. There was just so much, but there was just good racing up and down the field. Unfortunate for Sainz that Yuki and he collided and it sort of killed his car. But yeah, the fact that we had so different strategies was fascinating. And definitely some got it wrong and some got screwed by the safety car.
Yeah.
And some benefit from the safety car because let's just say this. If Max didn't get the safety car, he probably doesn't get up to P6.
It was at one point, like he came out P20.
20th and last. He was last.
I was like, holy smoke.
I know. I was like, what in the world is going on right now?
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess just to cap off, just to round off, you know, let's talk about that Yuki Sainz smash up. Ooh. Sainz was looking pretty good, and then
racing.
Yeah, and then nothing like ripping out the side pod to cause your whole world to unfold and retire.
Yuki did a Perez.
Oh. Well, it's in the right car.
Point.
Yes.
Valid fucking point.
Yes.
Baku last year, Perez walled Sainz.
He did.
And then Yuki in the second RB car
did the same.
Well, to be fair to Yuki, it spun up and sidestepped and hit him. Like, it wasn't as bad as Perez, but yeah, jeez, man, like that guy just needs some luck, doesn't he? Like now, he just needs some, kind of like Jack Doohan, needs some luck.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right there. It was just one of those it was a bit of a racing incident. Just was unlucky. But you know, Ryuki, I think, you know, like if we're gonna move. In one last thing, we'll just talk about who didn't mess up strategy, and that was definitely Oscar Piastri and McLaren. They nailed their lead there, and I think if we could talk about Oscar Piastri all night, we will.
Oh,
Piastri.
Piastri.
So,
Yeah.
let's
Yep.
move into driver rankings. We're going to basically give our rankings across the drivers. And,
Yes, we are.
yeah, a couple of interesting ones I can see here. But, let's start with Oscar. Both of us. Ready? 3, 2, 1. A plus.
Oh, sorry, I went early.
That's what she said, mate. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, A plus. You can't beat a weekend like that. That's got to be top grade. There's definitely no
Everything by
questions.
FP1, it's an A plus.
Yeah.
Like, controlled it, dominated it, never looked like he was gonna lose it. And geez, it's kind of like Matty Payne in supercars. When he's out in front, you just sit there going, nah, they're not gonna get him.
Yeah, he's got it covered. He's all
Yeah,
good.
he's got it covered. He's all good.
What did you give Russell?
Young Russell. I actually put an A down here, and
Okay.
I feel like I probably should have gone an A plus, to be honest, because he had so much going on, and he controlled it well, and that. So maybe I'll change my mind and I'll say an A plus. I think it was a pretty good execution. I don't think he's going to get a McLaren when they're on song. So
It's a good a good point because I did do an A as well. But yeah, realistically, what else could he have done? I mean, okay, yeah, the issues they had in the quali, which was not his fault. He was outstanding. So let's bump him to an A plus for us.
let's go A plus. A plus for us.
Now let's not be too harsh. Lando
Not too
Norris.
harsh. F. Oh no, sorry, no. I'm not that harsh. Calm down.
All
It's
right,
okay.
that's okay.
No. Look, I'm going to give him a C.
Yes.
He recovered,
Yep.
but nowhere near good enough, in my opinion, when you're in the fastest car in the field.
Yeah, and I think I put a C. I did float with kind of, do I want a C plus, because I feel like C's maybe a little too harsh. He made lots of mistakes. He did actually recoup and get back up there a little bit. So I'm going to stick with C. But yeah, definitely not his best work. Not his best work.
Look, I would have given him a C plus if he wasn't so Debbie Downer in the press.
All right, fair enough. All right, next in line. So who got fourth was Charles Leclerc.
Charles Leclerc. I love that guy. I really wish the Ferrari was good.
Yeah.
I've given him a B. I feel like if he'd gotten Russell, like if he was up ahead of Russell, then I would have had him, A plus type situation. But I think that's his direct competitor right now. So yeah, I couldn't quite go there. So I gave him a B. He's finished fourth.
Yeah.
Not a bad result considering it's a dustbin, but
Yeah, I did the same. Gave him a B. I feel like he did, almost as much as he could. Not quite great, but really good effort. For someone that's been in that team for a little while, I think he did a pretty good job. And then I guess from that, next was Hamilton. Now, I gave a B to Hamilton.
Why'd you give him a B? Did you not see his qualifying?
I understand, yes. But I also think that he still managed to get fifth, despite the fact that he's clearly not comfortable in the car. He's clearly still not adjusted, and getting what he wants out of it, and yet still managed to get fifth. So I sort of feel like he's done a pretty good job overall. It's maybe it's a B minus, but I think I'm happy to give him a B based on those points.
Yeah, right. He got out qualified by science. That's all I'm saying. So it's a C from me.
Okay, nice and snappy. I like it. What say you on Verstappen?
Oh, wow.
Well,
I'm a little spicy on this one. I've given him a C as well.
Oh, come on. Come on, man.
I'm sorry. If it wasn't for that safety car, I don't even know if he makes points. Perfectly honest. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
So Look, it was a good recovery, but he didn't qualify well. The car's a dustbin. I get that. Don't come at me in the comments. Or do. I don't care. But yeah, no. When you consider what he can do in Japan, to then turn up in Bahrain and deliver that, and allow Sonoda to even get close to him, no, no. It's a C from me.
All right. Well, I've given him a B because I think that car clearly at that track is not a combination that is working at all. It was a massive struggle, yet still manages to get himself in the points, keep himself in the championship. I think he's still outperformed definitely where the car is capable. So I sort of feel like a B is appropriate. That's my take. You hard ass. How about we get on to one that we both agree with, and that is Pierre Gasly. And we have given both an A, and frankly, I was fleeting with an A plus.
Sorry, that car. You're talking about a dustbin. That car is a fucking dustbin.
that is a struggle, that Pete. But damn, he qualified so well, It was just, he just managed to maintain his position throughout the race for a car that really doesn't deserve to be top 10.
Definitely not. Carried it. And, great job, Gasly. Excellent job all weekend. Unlucky to lose out to Verstappen on that last lap, but
yeah,
it was dustbin versus dustbin, and unfortunately the other dustbin's a bit better.
Yeah, it was like a premium model dustbin, and the other one was from Kmart or something.
That's it. So good.
All right.
Oh shit. All right. So what about Ocon? He's had a top 10 finish.
He has, and
I mean he's finished 8th.
Weirdly, after it was 8th. He was. Was that 5, 6, 7, 8? Yep.
We should put numbers next to him.
We should. But I've given him an A, and look.
Me too.
I was debating just based off his performance for the week before, but for this race, you've got to give him an A. Managed to somehow get the Haas into the points. Went relatively unsighted for the whole bloody Grand Prix, and then when I saw the results, good man.
Can we just acknowledge something really quickly?
Yes, of course.
During this, they were fucking nowhere in Australia.
Yeah,
nowhere. How on earth are they 5th with 20 points?
Yeah.
What?
They have just been outperforming. Him and his teammate have definitely overperformed for that car.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievably so. I mean, they no right to be there. I mean, look, safety car probably played a little bit in it.
Of course. But that's part of racing, though. It's part of racing.
It is part of racing. So, well done, Ocon. A from me.
Well done. Okay. Yuki Tsunoda. What say you on Yuki Tsunoda?
I've given him a B. I've been generous.
Very generous, in my opinion. Yep.
Only because he was much closer to Max. Max was nowhere.
Yes.
And he managed to get close to him. He didn't quite... Actually, did he make Q3? I can't remember.
No, I don't think
he just missed it, I think.
Yeah, he missed it.
So, look, he's improving.
Yes.
He had a better weekend. He's much more consistent. And he managed to get points for the first time in about 200 years for Red Bull. So,
yes.
In that second car. So, I'm going with, a B. I think that's worthwhile. It's a good job.
I've given him a C. Now.
Why?
Because...
That seems rude. Do you not like him? Do you have something against his height?
No. I want to put on record that I think he's definitely the right choice, and I'm not one to talk about height. Like, he might be shorter than me, but I'm not much taller, that's for sure. So, but I just feel like if you take out some of the small, mistakes, or some of the scraps, like with Sainz, he could have done so much better. And I just feel like, I think he's definitely the right choice for that seat. I think he's proving himself and better than I expected. I think he's doing really great. So I don't want to take away from that. I just think that it wasn't the cleanest race, and it was just a bit messy. So I'm going to give him a C. And then if he can back it up again at the next race, be close to Max, and be a bit cleaner, I'll be the first to give him like a B and A if he's doing that.
Hard taskmaster. Jeez,
Absolutely,
rough.
absolutely. And then I go into the softie where I've got Ollie Beerman, and I've given him an A.
You've given him an A. Did you not see his qualifying?
Look, that was terrible, right? No doubt about it. But the recovery for a rookie from a Haas, I mean, my goodness, that was worth an A for me. I just think, just when I thought, okay, now it's time for him to have his little moment as a rookie, and he was struggling. I'm like, damn, man, he just delivers, So I'm on board with the Ollie Beerman.
He delivered into the fence a lot in Australia, but
he wasn't the only one. Come on.
No, he wasn't. He's recovered well, and yes, I agree. But I feel I couldn't forgive the quali, so and I know he's better than that, so I'm giving him a B.
A B, jeez.
B for Beerman.
B for Beerman. Well, at least you passed that spelling test.
That's the only one.
What about Antonelli?
I gave him initially. Well, I won't say that. My initial thoughts were that he should get. No, I won't say that either. He should be a D.
Jesus.
A D. I still don't think I lined that up well.
No, all over the shop. All over the fucking shop.
Trying to get rid of the D comments that will cop. But,
gotcha.
But no, I feel like that was not his strongest weekend.
Yep.
I know Merck stuffed his strategy a little bit. So probably, to be fair, it's more of a representation of what the team did to him rather than what he did. I think he had some great overtakes and everything. Possibly a little bit harsh on the D. Maybe
a C, I gave him a C.
C+. I'm putting myself into a C+ here. Look, I think it wasn't dire, but I just don't think it was his best. That's all.
Yeah, I think there was definitely not his best, but I sort of felt like a C was right. A lot of his result was basically the team strategy calling it wrong. So I'm much nicer. And maybe continue that trend because Albon. What say you for Albon? I can see the letter here, and I'm like, hang on, can you explain to me what the hell's going on? It's like, I've just given him a C because I felt like it was just a kind of solid, but not ultimately massively inspiring. I just thought it was a good drive, and he had some issues with certain things, but he was good.
I'm sorry, he set the bar too high.
Oh.
He's had points. He's out of the points and qualified. It was out in Q1.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a D.
It's a D.
It's a D. Come on, mate.
Oh, you're giving Albon the
better.
D. Oh, my God.
D for do better.
Jesus Christ.
Not anything else. Calm your mind.
Calm your mind. All right. Well, we then have
favourite.
Yeah. Well, maybe not anymore. He really did have a tough weekend. His second tough weekend. But Hadjar, I've given him a C. I sort of feel like it was not where it should have been. The car did not look good at that track, so we will say that. But I've decided to give him a C because I sort of feel like he still beat his teammate, but it was just not a great weekend at all.
Yeah, initially based on the fact that the car wasn't great all weekend, I'd given him a B.
Yep.
Because he still beat his teammate. But then I found out, actually, after I did this initially, that if it wasn't for the penalties, Lawson actually would have finished ahead of him.
Yeah, correct.
So then I was like, no, I can't. Yeah, I can't really do that. So it's a C from me. Okay. As well, I just changed it on the run because I can do that. I can change my mind. Screw you if you have any difference of opinion.
If you didn't say anything, I would have been the only one that knew. So
True. I mean, I didn't change it at all. It was a C all along.
Yeah, correct. Now, Doohan is
really?
there now.
You go so hard and then you go so soft.
Well, because I feel it was outside of his control. It was the strategy.
Yes and
It
no.
was the timing. He was up in the points. He was in ninth, and then
Yep.
because of the strategy they deployed and the timing of the safety car, which you can't really do too much about. It happens when it happens. He ended up way down the order, but was right up there, and so I sort of feel like, right, he's been bloody under the pump for a lot of things, but I think he did pretty well here, so I've given him a C.
Look, it was a better and also disastrous result for him. He definitely showed pace all weekend, but he didn't quite get it together when he needed to in the right part of qualifying for that getting
Yeah.
out of Q2. He just missed.
Yeah,
And I was really disappointed for him because I think he should have made a Q3 appearance.
yep,
I've gone for a D only because, yes, he was screwed by the strategy, but it was not too dissimilar to Gasly's, and Gasly made those tyres in the last little bit work, which Doohan couldn't, and he fell back because of that. So that's a bit of experience.
yep.
So maybe D's a bit harsh, but
I think
ultimately,
super harsh, but yes,
I think
go.
he'll come back stronger in Jeddah, and we can hopefully celebrate maybe a points finish for him.
Yeah, I really hope so because I think he's definitely doing enough to keep himself sort of in that fold at the moment. So yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Uh,
Oh, so we got Alonso Damo, and
uh,
we both super harsh. We both like Alonso. Is this more of a thing about the team than Alonso himself? Do you think?
yeah, look, it is. But I still I've given him an E because I sort of feel like it's Alonso. He should be able to scrape together something a little better than where they were, despite the car. Now, clearly,
Yep.
the car is a dog. It's and it's so bad that now they come out in the press and they're like very clear. Adrian Newey had nothing to do with this car, and they're pinning it all. Oh, hit my mic. They're pinning it all on the guy that's left because they're like this like Adrian Newey's not part of this bloody dustbin as you call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're scrambling, and so the car does make a big difference. I know, but you kind of expect Alonso just to drag a result out of it.
Yeah, he hasn't had a good start to the year.
Yeah.
And I mean, pulling your steering wheel off like it's a controller.
What?
Come on, mate.
Why?
Like,
Why?
I don't know whether to give him points or take points away based on that. But yeah, I mean, if we didn't say it before, we've given Alonso an E.
Yeah.
It's not a fail, but it's not really anything better. And I just feel like that team is irrelevant now. And there's nothing special going on right at this given point. And nobody's dragging it outside of where it should be. So, yep, E from me. Do better, Alonso.
Yep.
Don't crash though, trying.
Yeah. All right. This one. I don't think there's going to be any surprises on this one, but Liam Lawson. Oh.
This one hurts. This one hurts in my loins.
I think he is just another victim of that second seed of Red Bull and Helmut Marko and Christian. Yeah, he's broken.
He had
He's done.
Two race weekends, and he's broken and done. You got to be more resilient than that. I know it's hard. I know you've been kicked back.
Yeah.
But mate, you need to find something, and you need to find it quick, because if you can't rebuild yourself, pretty much probably by the end of next week.
Yeah, it's all over.
Oh, there's going to be so many questions on whether you should even be in F1, and I hate that. I hate hearing that shit. So unfortunately, it's an F from me.
Yeah.
Just like the next one on our list, Damo, which is Lance Stroll.
And I'm laughing because it's Stroll because like
Play
oh my goodness.
tennis. I'm done. Get out of F1. You can't drive. You're useless.
Well,
I could stick a mouse in that car and it'd drive faster than you.
there you go. You've heard it first, right? Here's breaking news. Steve's better than Lance Stroll, okay?
I didn't say I was a mouse. I said a mouse, not me. I don't want to drive that dustbin.
Yeah, look, we have to give, so Lawson got Fs and we're giving Stroll Fs because, definitely someone, and I guess maybe the car was just terrible at that track or whatever, but like his attitude in and around was also just like he'd just given up, and
It's just
we just want people who want to be there.
yeah, and I know some people have a go at Piastri for not showing a whole lot of emotion, but he does actually show emotion if you watch. Um, it these guys like him and Lando are just the hardest things to watch in a interview or anything like that, because unless they're right up that top, they just sound like I don't know, they're just kids throwing toys out of the cot, or they're not giving you anything at all.
Yeah.
Like they're just like,
Yeah. Well, that's Stroll all over, mate. Right, let's move on. And
moving on.
Borderletto.
Borderletto.
I have given him a D. Now, I just sort of feel like this is probably his worst week that he's had. I think he's been really good, solid for most of it. Usual ins and ups and downs, I should say, from a rookie. But yeah, I think I've given him a D. What about you, mate?
I feel so sorry for Bortoletto and Hulk that
it's
I
a
was,
terrible
I was
car.
going to be nicer, but no, probably a D. He wasn't faster than Hulk this weekend, and he has been generally in pass. So, not his strongest weekend, which is surprising because it's a track he knows. So,
that was a surprise.
Just couldn't get the car where he wanted it.
No.
I don't think they get the car where they want it, but just not even in a slight sweet spot for it. So, hard week for Stake F1.
Terrible.
But, D for Bortoletto.
Yes. All right. And then we got to our DNF of Saints, who...
I really wanted to give him a higher mark.
He did as much as he could. I think he was on for a good showing. I think he was really hustling and... Yeah, just not having much luck.
He's just trying so hard to get points.
Yeah.
Like, so hard. And in the end, I've given him a C, and I think you've done the same.
I've done the same, given him a C. Yep.
Just needs some luck, that boy.
Yeah. Yes, and then a DSQ. We have Nico Hülkenberg.
I can't remember where he actually finished. I think he was ahead of Bortoletto.
He was
disqualified because his plank got shaved too far.
And I did wonder when I was watching, especially after the safety car restart, where everyone was going offline, and we're towards the end of the race, and yet there is still like a plethora of sparks coming off those planks. I'm thinking, I was wondering who was going to be the victim, and it was only Hulk. And look, I think he had a really good race. Outside of that, I think he did a really good job. I gave him a C. I feel like it was just that DSQ was a bit of a shame.
Yeah, like it's a bit of both. But I don't. Yeah, D from me.
D from you. All right. Well, that kind of rounds it up. Have a quick look at the chat because Sarah's in there. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, I did type to you, but we didn't want this one to go for basically 2 hours, so we have pre-recorded
in the morning. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, Steve's off to the 6 hour at Bathurst to do some work as opposed to do some driving.
Correct.
But yeah, so we've pre-recorded that. I'm going to chop that up in it, and that'll be out. Fingers crossed tomorrow night or Friday. Right. Yeah. So we've done a wrap on that. Yeah.
Be generous. Damo's working, as we all are, and makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah. Well, I've got to get it done though, so I'll hustle on that. And you sit there. You made a great dad joke, which I don't know.
Oh.
Hey Liam, what is the law, son? I love it. I love it.
Oh, shit. That's terrible.
All right.
Very good. Well done.
Now, let's get on to predictions. Yes, because we did all right. And, I think, it was pretty easy. Piastri. We both had Piastri pole and win. So that's very
Look at us
good.
wheel.
And
That's good.
then I had Verstappen and Hamilton in second and third, and you
I
had
had Norris and Leclerc,
yeah,
and you know, close but no cigar. If that was third and
yeah,
fourth, I would have won.
you're on it.
Uh,
But yeah,
uh,
yeah,
but I didn't predict Russell being any good because I thought it's going to be warmer, so I
yes,
thought the Merc would drop off a little bit more, but it wasn't as warm as it usually was. So
yeah, correct,
the
correct.
Merc worked.
The Merc is on. It is on. Now I'm going to
Merc
do a
is
quick
on.
switch of scene. So Steve, you want to take away with the pit lane preview while I change my battery in the camera?
Ah, very good. Yes, pit lane preview, new segment. It's where we preview the next round. So, welcome everybody. That is now changing gear to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix preview. It's a 50-lap race this weekend, super fast circuit at the Jeddah circuit, and we're expecting mid 20 degrees all weekend in the evening. So should be a corker, slightly warmer than what we had in Bahrain. So I expect those McLarens to be firing on all cylinders. So hopefully Damo's about to come back from
say that I'm back.
painting.
Say that I'm back.
Look at that. So we can cut into the very first question, Damo. Which
Yes.
is, can Verstappen and Red Bull reverse their form?
I don't think so. I think it's the track dependent. So my prediction for Red Bull and Verstappen is, obviously Verstappen will always drag the best result possible, but I'm not sure that this track is going to be a good one for them. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yep.
And so I think it might be another mid, top 10-ish to late top 10 result if that's the case. Now, if they have made the changes to the car and it works at this track, I think he's definitely got a potential that he can drag a result out.
Yeah, I was trying to work out where this track falls. It's got a couple of slow corners, which is where I think they're really struggling. So, yeah, I think they'll be there or thereabouts until probably the last corner in terms of time, and then and they obviously you got little chicanes at the start, but you can sort of hustle through those a little bit more. Yeah, you might be right. It might be a mid sort of 10 area for them.
Yep.
But if anyone can pull a rabbit out of the hat, we know it's Verstappen. So I think qualifying again is going to be very important this weekend. Even more so than Japan, I feel, because it's really, really, I don't know, in past, I feel like it's really hard unless you've got a really big offset in tyre to actually get past. So,
yes,
going to be a good one. So, I guess the next question then is, can Norris challenge Piastri, considering that back in the F2 days, Piastri cakewalked this?
No chance.
Unless no chance.
The only way it's going to happen is if Piastri makes a mistake. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't see. He does like this track. Yeah, as you say, dominating F2, dragged a result out of it last year, way ahead of Norris. I think as long as he runs through seamlessly, right, it's going to be another dominant weekend.
So all right. So a little sneaky into where Damo's going to be in the predictions.
100%.
So I guess then the next question would be, will Ferrari get on top of their issues? And will we see a resurgence from them anytime soon?
Look, I'm hoping so. From reports from other people, this might be or should be a better track. So we'll see. They've obviously had some updates, and so whether that has changed, but that they are struggling. But I'm appreciating the fact that Hamilton's driving a car that he's not really comfortable with and getting some sort of results, and Leclerc is dragging that thing around. So I think I'm willing to put a little bit on the line and say that they're going to be all right at Jeddah.
Okay. Or do you reckon it'll reverse between Mercedes and Ferrari this time around?
No. Look, I think just the fact, if it was super hot, I'd
You'd say
I've
yes.
still got a doubt, but we've seen that Mercedes have seemed to have addressed that heat issue, and
Yeah.
so I think I've got to back in that Mercedes have made enough changes that they are definitely the second car as an average across most tracks.
Well, that answers my next question then,
Yeah,
because I was going to ask you whether you thought that Mercedes could keep it rolling, and clearly you think they can.
yeah.
Um,
What do you think?
yeah, look, I tend to think the same. Something about Jeddah that says Ferrari might be a little bit more competitive.
Yep.
So I hope there's a bit of a tussle between them, but it'll be I'll be really interested to see the McLaren battle.
Yep.
If Oscar can get pole, and if Lando has another Bahrain style run,
Yep.
this could get out of hand real quick. Just saying. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be an interesting little start, I think, this weekend.
I'm here for
All
it.
to play for. All to play for.
Yeah, and like looking at the results, Ferrari did really well last year, which is why I feel like they're all right. Charles got third, and that was the round that Ollie Behrman was in and snagged that seventh.
Oh, you got seventh. Yeah.
So
that was good.
So yeah, fingers crossed. But righto,
All right.
we're sort of moving now into a bit of the predictions. So
the predictions for the weekend.
it feels like we are just like back to back to back with these F1 races. It has been
Can
non-stop.
F1 slow down? I'm tired.
So, what is your prediction if we talk about pole? And let's let's not mince around. Pole and winner, because I think we can clearly see where we're heading with this.
Look, we're both in agreement. I find it really hard based on pattern, and this is the thing that I was talking about, which I put up that video the other day when I was walking.
Yeah.
There's a real pattern this year to the results and what's happening. So for me, pole and win, Oscar Piastri.
Piastri. Yeah.
Oscar
Piastri. Definitely. Absolutely. Well,
please tune in.
some people may not class that as singing, but I know you're giving it a shot, so well done. Yeah, I think we're both thinking it's going to be a dominant weekend from Piastri again. So we'll see how we go. So I guess the more interesting question is, who have you got at second and third?
Yeah, so I toyed with this one because part of me doesn't want who I selected to be there. But,
okay. All right.
It's a bit rough, isn't it? But look, I think because factoring in that it's going to be 25 odd degrees most evenings, and so forth, I've had to put Norris in at second.
Yep.
I feel like unless he's really like Bahrain, just struggling to get his head around the car for whatever reason at this particular track, he should be there.
Yep.
And yeah, so I've gone for Norris in second, and then I've gone for a hopeful third of Charles Leclerc.
Right.
Because I just want Ferrari to get another podium.
Yeah, well, I like your style. I've gone for full domination and excluded Norris from my top three. So
you're saying that Piastri's going to come out with like a big points haul?
Yeah, I mean, look, I do, and I think that Norris might be able to turn around, and theoretically he should be able to, but he just looks so lost with the car that I don't know how he's going to do that. But kudos if he does. I'll give him the leg up if he does manage to. But in my second and third, I've gone Russell in second. I just sort of feel like that's going to continue a little bit. And then my hopeful for third, I'm going to keep picking him at third until I get it right, is Lewis Hamilton.
Yay, Lewis, LH, yay! I love that.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Leclerc would be the smarter option, and then I saw that you put Leclerc, and I'm like, oh, let's just keep my Hamilton in. I've got to be right at some point, don't I?
Of course. Look, Hamilton has struggled since China.
Yeah,
I feel. He had that little spike, and then it's sort of back into this little struggle town. But yeah, look, I'd love to see him up there because I mean, There's something about him in that Ferrari that you want him to go well. Like
Yeah.
you just want him to go. It's kind of like back in the day when Schumi came back into the Merc, all those years ago. You just wanted him
Yeah,
to go well.
you just that
Um,
fairy tale was ever present.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It hasn't quite turned out that way. And look, it may change post round 9. Who knows?
Oof.
But at this point, it's definitely a struggle for them. So,
Yep.
yep, I think that's a good shout. It'll be one of the two Ferrari, surely. Unless Antonelli does a
Surely.
blinder.
Oh, imagine that. Then we'll be back on the rookie train again, hey?
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, well, that's the end of the predictions. And I guess now let's go to our new segment, which we're calling the Formation Lap, where we're going to kind of have some rapid fire questions and quick answers. Because we feel like these things tend to go, there's so much to cover at some points, and we just keep wasting the internet with all this live discussion going on. So
I know.
let's kick it off. Will Max be a Red Bull next year, mate?
Nope.
Okay. Next.
Nope.
Yeah,
If you saw, what's his, Raymond Vermeulen,
his manager. Yep.
manager going nutso at Marco post race last weekend, that says to me that they're not happy and they'll be looking for the exit.
Yeah, I'm hoping that at some of the lead up that some of that kind of has some exposure or some answers. I know we won't ever know exactly,
Right.
but yeah, that was seeing some of those photos was like, wow, okay.
Well, Damo,
Yes.
is Piastri the clear number 1 at McLaren now?
Yes. 100%. 2 thumbs up. Yeah, it just feels like he has. And look, McLaren do a reasonable job of loving, the best in breed, the person who's winning at the moment. They love Lando for a while, and now that you can see there's a lot of love there for Oscar, and I just feel like mentally he just feels like he's ready to dominate the world. So yeah, I think he's number 1. They won't call it yet. They won't until it gets further down the track. But yeah, I think you'll find that if he ends up ahead, he's going to get the preference on all the strategies, and he's going to keep dominating. Yep,
I agree.
Yeah. Now we have touched on it a little bit, but do you think Ferrari are doomed for the rest of the season, or are they going to find some form?
No, they're doomed.
Change your prediction.
Look, I don't think they're going to find peak form. I struggle to see. I know a big change, as Red Bull keeps saying, post round 9, but I'll believe it when I see it. I think what McLaren has in that car is more than just the flexi wing gate thing going on right now, and I think they'll keep an advantage.
Yep.
Maybe not as much.
Yeah.
But they'll definitely keep an advantage over the rest of the field. So I don't see Ferrari getting back up there. So
yeah.
Yep. I think they're not doomed by any sense of the imagination, but they're second or third overall if they, depending on how they go.
Yeah, it seems track dependent, really. This is the way that I can sort of see it. And we were hoping for a bit of a clearer picture on the field after Bahrain, given that they'd all tested there. And it just feels like we come away from that weekend more confused because you've got an Alpine that's up there suddenly. You've got Ferrari that struggled more than we expected. Yeah, who knows, huh?
Hey, swings and roundabouts this season.
Yes.
Both Formula 1 and V8, so it's pretty crazy to watch.
Yeah.
But Damo.
Yep.
Here's one for you. This is a bit spicy.
Yep.
Are Aston Martin tanking to get maximum wind tunnel time?
I mean, I don't even think that's spicy. There's no controversy there, is there? They've got to be. They've got to be. As we mentioned in the bit of our grading of the drivers, just the fact that Alonso is so far down, that it just at a track they did loads of testing at, it just doesn't seem right.
Weird.
But I'm sure it's not really tanking, to be fair. But I'm sure that they're not that concerned about not achieving now that they're so far behind. So yeah.
Full focus on 2026 for that team, 100%.
Yep, agreed. So, mate, Speaking of possible doomed, Jack Doohan, can he reverse his luck? Do you think he's going to score some points this weekend?
I think he can. I think he can get a ninth or a 10th. If he
Yep.
has his day, it's a ninth or a 10th finish for Jack.
Yeah.
I actually think he's got a lot of speed.
Yeah, agree.
And it just hasn't quite come out just yet.
Yep.
Just missing little bits here and there. And again, it's just an experience thing. And you got to remember too, he hasn't really been driving a heap in the past sort of 12 months. So, yeah, it'll be. I think it's on the cusp. I think he'll get there. I definitely do.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so. I feel like he's borderline at the moment. That they should be pretty happy with where he's at, despite some challenges. And just scoring some points, if he can do that, that'll kind of cement him, I think, past that round 5 deadline.
There's rumors coming out that he's got the drive until the middle of the year.
Yeah.
And that the actual team, not the heads, but the actual team are the ones backing him in, and saying, it's
not Briatore.
So,
not Briatore.
Well, no, I mean, Briatore and Mick have a good relationship.
Yep.
So, really, I think, I don't know. I think he'll be okay, and I think he'll start getting some results, and then the talk should die down.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Now,
so, will, Damo,
Yes.
the RB21 be closer once the rules change, or are they going to struggle on and off for the rest of the year?
They're going to struggle for the rest of the year. If the rule changes are what Red Bull think are holding back, it's not. I don't see that. Like, it might close the gap down if that is the only thing that McLaren seem to have up their sleeve, which I don't agree with. But it's not. The trouble they're having is with the car. It's not with the speed versus everything else. They can't get in the window. They can't get the setups right. It's super twitchy, and they keep pushing it towards the nose to make it fast. But in the end, it's a really hard car to grab speed out of. So I don't think it's there. It's not the panacea, as they say. It's going to make or break, or the silver bullet that's going to bring them back into the fold.
Yep, I agree with all that.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
It's an aero balance, so they need to fix the aero balance before anything else.
Correct. And I guess just lastly, we obviously have to touch on Sky F1 and the graphics. So, should the person who's kind of in control of that, should they be sacked? Let's just... Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I agree.
Cancer culture. Get them the get out of there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Sign my petition.
Yeah. I feel like it's a bit of a petition time. It's just it is terrible. And I'm really hoping that some of the feedback, because it has been more broad than I thought it would be about, the coverage of Oscar and some of the issues they had. I think some of that feedback's got to be heard, and they've got to start doing something, because it's getting out of control.
They need someone in there. Tom Bellingham said it right. They need someone in there who just lives F1 and understands it. So they will tell you where to place and go, because they'll know when it's a proper race and everything else. Yeah. So you just need somebody with that eye that understands the sport. And right now, clearly, not the commentators or anyone else involved seem to understand it.
That's a good point that he sort of bring up, because they would have known not to follow that. Lando had a lunge early in the lap, was not going to get back on George, so why are you following them? Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yep. Okay, let's move on to the next news session, which we're calling Garage Gossip, where we get to be little drama queens and talk about all the things that we don't really know much about, but we're just going to make it up as we go. And we did touch on it earlier, but give us, I can't remember if you gave your thoughts or it was me or maybe both of us, just on that Raymond Vermeulen, which is Max Verstappen's manager, giving that spray to Marco in full visibility of media and pit lane people, other drivers and stuff. Mate, it can't be good when a manager is getting that heated about probably some of the pit lane stuff that happened with him with the red light and shit like that. Yeah, really, it seems really, really interesting for me. I'm like ready to watch it like a soap.
Let's be honest, Damo. You and I both know that you don't blow up just in one moment. That is a bunch of moments
Yeah.
caught up over time, and then finally that the things that have happened have just burst.
Yeah.
And he has absolutely gone full tit at Helmut Marko.
Yeah.
And he apparently he stood there and took it. Maybe he couldn't see him out of his right eye or left eye, whatever it was. But didn't see it coming.
Jesus.
Sorry.
No, fair call
but
though.
yeah, no, he literally he copped an earful, and it sounds like to me like we touched on that. I don't believe Verstappen will be there at year's end. It just seems to me that things are brewing to a point now where it'll become unsustainable to work together properly.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the first time we've ever, well, at least witnessed where Helmut Marko's not the kind of the aggressor or the offender, kind of making the message known. So it seems very weird that he just took it. I'm like, well, geez, okay.
Maybe he's the bitch after all.
Love it.
Yeah. So, Damo.
Yeah.
F1 manufacturers have rejected the V10 idea, but there is a little thing happening with potentially a V8 could return in 2029 now. So not next year like it was originally suggested. But yes, the whole thing here is that the ICE/battery split for these cars will go from a 50-50 of what they're supposed to be next year to a 90-10, being that the ICE will be 90% of the power unit with 10% from the recharge. That should mean that we get lighter cars. So what do you reckon of that? Good, bad, or otherwise?
I mean, obviously, we would all love to have V10s back, right? But that is the smart thing. After giving the regulations, getting some manufacturers on board, ready to roll out next year, to change it to V10s or even V8s in the next year would be stupid. But a return to V8s, that would be delicious. Absolutely delicious. Hopefully it's a trend that we are seeing where, I guess, electric cars in the consumer world are having less uptake, and they've got their place. They've got their place. But there was a massive push, and we've seen it in years gone by, where governments make decisions and they want things to happen, but yet the end consumer doesn't want that. And we're seeing it with
the purchasing power. Diesel was the way forward just 15, 20 years ago.
And 40, 50 years ago, we were running out of oil, so we dropping V8s and stuff around then. It's happened a lot, and a return to V8s would be absolutely amazing, because at least then we would get a little bit more sound, and I'd be quite happy with that.
Mate, V8 singing with electrical power overtakes and stuff. Yeah, that'd work for me. I could deal with that. It means the cars are lighter again, hopefully smaller, because the units that are in the back are smaller as a result.
Yeah.
We can get onto the what do you call it? What's the fuels they use? Oh man.
You talking about synthetic fuels?
Yeah, synthetic. I could not think of the word. Thank you, Damo. Synthetic fuels. Yep. They'll be using the synthetic fuels, kind of like what Sebastian Vettel has demonstrated time and time again with his old Formula One cars. And that'll offset the carbon footprint, so everyone wins.
Everyone wins. Yep, we're doing all right by the environment, and we still get the quality cars with good engines. So
that's it, and good noise. Bring back the noise.
Yeah, we definitely need better noise than we're getting. That's for sure. All right. Well, we did touch on this a little bit, but there's these whispers that have started. Nothing really concrete. That the pressure's off a little bit for Dawn. So I guess maybe share. We've heard that share your thoughts on the fact that what we've heard that he's basically got the seat until half year.
Yeah, so it sounds like the Colapinto thing has sort of not gone to shit in the background, but maybe not working out quite as well as they thought, or he's not willing to stick around.
Yep.
Because he was probably promised something else. Who knows? We'll see what unfolds there. Basically, the team themselves are backing Doohan. They think he's got the speed and the talent to go to Gasly or take it to Gasly. So they don't see any reason for a change, and apparently they've been quite vocal about that.
Yep.
So yeah, it sounds like he's going to get his chance to at least mid-year prove his point, and I don't care what anyone says. You take that little bit of pressure off, he'll probably go to Jeddah this week and score points.
Yeah, well, just interesting to touch on Colapinto, where news came out that he was the preferred second driver in Red Bull before Yuki, before Liam. Hey, that boy has been he's been branded around as getting every seat in F1. It looks like. Yeah, but
town bike.
I think Doohan, as we said, he's doing all right, and I reckon get some points along the way, and he's good.
Absolutely.
All right, Jeddah. So the track has been pushed back to as late as 2029.
Yeah, so I probably should have explained that better in that.
I think so.
Question. Basically, there's a new track being built, and it's like this whole center hub thing that they're constructing. So it's not just the racetrack; it's everything else.
Yeah.
But it's been pushed back because they're making it even bigger than what it was before, or meant to be. So it was meant to be finished last year, but it wasn't. And now it seems to be pushed out to 2029. So we'll be racing on the current track until then. Until they build it, basically. So it's really a bit of a non-event, but it was just interesting to see it pop up in the news. So I thought I'd pop it in here.
Yeah, and I guess we're getting close to the end, and so let's just finish up on a bit of a bombshell that I just dropped in there. We're seeing some footage of some snubs of Ben Suleiman, I think that's how we say it, the FIA president.
It's definitely not how you spell it. How you spell it there, but that's cool.
No one else had to know that, all right? But phonetically, that works, okay? But yeah, we saw Oscar, our boy Oscar, kind of like snub past, just a little, see you later, get to his team. Yeah. And we saw Hamilton, which I thought was old footage. There is some old footage when around the jewelry thing was happening where Lewis did snub him. And then looks like, again, we saw some more stuff happening. So whether it was from that time period or not. But maybe the drivers are not so happy with him.
Mate, this guy, as you know, he's a race car driver.
Oh, yeah, he tells us. Yep.
Desperate to be buddies with all the drivers. Like, he just wants to be their best friends.
Yeah.
And yet he shafts them everywhere. So I don't get it. And then he sits there and he's trying to hug Lewis Hamilton, and Lewis is like, fuck off, mate. And then, Oscar sort of turned around for a brief second because obviously he said, Oscar. And he was like, oh. And then he was like, oh, it's you. And then he just snubbed him.
just like, I think it was a brief, touch of the hands. And it was I'm off. It's like,
I'm off.
Mate,
you get other shit to do.
You get what you deserve. And you get what you deserve because I've just put in big bold Mohammed Ben Sulayem.
Salam. Yeah, snubbed by Lewis and Oscar.
Yeah, so that's always good to see because I'm not a fan, and there is elections happening for that president's spot coming up later this year.
Yeah, anyone's better, right?
I think that would cause other talks, about Toto being married to the FIA president, but she would be 100% better than him. 100%.
100%. I don't care about the link up between Toto and her. I think they're really professional. So, I think she would be much better than the current. So, that's all I have to say on that.
And that's all we've got to say. Other than follow us on the socials, obviously on Instagram and that, we post stuff.
Click the like button. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. If they don't like it, that's fine. But at least
I'm okay with it.
Help. It's okay. If you want to abuse us, please don't.
But feel free. Contact Steve. No. Well,
Damien
Steve.
at...
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, Steve, have a good time up at the 6 hour at Bathurst. I'll
Thanks, mate. I will.
get some good shots,
I'll try.
photography shots, not anything else. Yeah, enjoy the company. I know there's tons of people up there.
Well, I think Elliot Barber's actually racing up there, and he
Ooh,
subbed to us recently or followed us recently, so
he
I might
did.
try and find him and take a
Snag a
photo of
few.
him. And,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah. We give him a couple of pics. You know, for a small fee, Elliot. If you
that's it.
ever listen to
Small
this.
fee, large fee.
Yeah, yeah.
Large.
No, it's small. It's a discount at $5,000 a photo.
yeah.
Yeah,
Very
nah, all good. Yep, thanks everyone, and we'll see you. We've got this live that's obviously finishing now. Next couple of days, I'm gonna have the V8 Taupo wrap up that's happening, and then other than that,
Already recorded.
we will see you in the preview for. In the review. God, so many freaking
Review.
review.
Come on.
Oh gosh, I've lost it. It's an hour and something, and we're done. So thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.